rolling? Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, they'll start rolling. Okay.
Are you burnt on talking about your film?
No, I mean, but I feel like
Okay, rolling camera.
it's been a whole year.
Yeah.
Right? It's been
When
a whole
did it
year.
come out?
It came out Sundance. Sundance was world
so a
premiere
year
last
ago.
year. Oh, yeah.
Really?
So I went back
1 year ago or 2 years ago?
1 year ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Past Lives at the Angelica when it was there, and it was like the first time I'd been in a theater with an audience, and I loved it, and the room was packed, and people were so into it, and it just made me excited about movies, the kind of movies that I love. Like,
Yeah.
it was so personal, and it's always been something that's like touching, but not embarrassing. Like that's done. Just with restraint and taste, and so I loved it. But what I'm just curious. I know you were a playwright before, and this is your first film. Did you make short films before, or is this the first time you ever did something with a camera?
It's the first time. Well, I think that I was in theater for 10 years, and I remember transitioning into film, and then, I was thinking about this before, which is that, like, when we first met, we met at the Chanel event.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, I remember sitting there and, like, looking over at you and being like, oh my God, Sofia Coppola's here. Oh, Sophia's here. And then, of course, you came up and then you told me that you saw it at the Angelica. And to me, I'm like, that just feels so special because, of course, it's a New York film.
Yeah, and to be in New York and go in my neighborhood and see it.
Like walk over to the movie theater. Like, that was one of my favorite parts of moving to New York. That you can just walk over to your neighborhood movie theater and be like, I hope the movie I want to see is there.
Yeah, so were you excited that your movie was at the Angelica? Did you go there?
Of course.
Yeah.
I feel
so
like
cool.
that was such a wild thing. And I feel like being in theater, so much of your life is about, like, because theater's local.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In such a deep way.
Yeah.
Have you wanted to work in theater? Have you felt
like a lot in
as a director or writer? Yeah.
You know, I did once. I directed an opera in Rome at the Rome Opera House. I did La Traviata.
Oh my God!
And it was really the scariest thing I've ever done. and I just rely so much on my cinematographer that, like, not having the camera to tell the story was really interesting. But then it realized it wasn't that different. You're still telling a story with actors and
of course,
and just using lighting and staging. But it was so exciting because I remember that she has to walk down this big staircase. I thought, like, oh, what if she falls? So, like, that live thing is so it was such an exciting, different experience. But
I love that about film, where I'm just like, you're never gonna miss the lighting cue. Right?
Oh,
you're never going to miss the sound cue. Because that's like a
yeah.
natural part of live performance. That it's like your stage manager is always having to do that accurately every night. Like they're there every night, like hitting the,
Oh, right. I never thought about that. So for you can really get it exactly how you imagine and not worry about something being off.
Every night it will be, every
Different.
time anybody plays it, a movie, anytime you play it, it's going to be the same. But in theater, it might
always
be a little
different.
sooner, a little bit later than you might want it.
Right.
You know?
And
But
does each performance feel different to you?
of course.
Yeah.
Well, the audience is different.
Yeah.
And actors are they're people.
Right. Yeah, that's
In fact, they are people. Yeah,
yeah,
so
I
they
find
are.
I find it really mysterious because I
Yeah.
I don't it's not that familiar to me, but I thought it was exciting, but it's it's totally foreign.
Well, because the actors respond to the animal that is the audience.
Oh, right.
Right. So you're seeing, like, the actors change their performance.
Oh, interesting.
And we get to see that, I feel like, in film, in front of the camera.
Right. But the audience doesn't.
Of course.
Choose it.
Like, if they see, I'm sure that's what was happening to you, because that's what's happening to me, where, like, if I look happy, the actors, like, I'm their audience,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So the actor will
play for you.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if I look worried, they're like, you
Try
know.
again. Yeah, that's so interesting that you probably have that's so smart that as you're directing that you know that you're the audience because you've had that experience in the theater. But that's totally, I didn't think of it as that you're being their audience live, but it makes sense. They totally are looking for your reaction, and
Of course.
shapes
Well,
it.
you're the chief audience. The director is the chief audience, but of course the whole crew, you know, our cinematographers, like, they're also the audience too. Also, the director sets the tone. And I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of performance that I felt like I had to do.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, I do feel like that everyone's looking to you. I think of it as like motherhood, because it's the same kind of role where they're looking at you. Is it okay? And it's the same thing I feel like with kids or something. So I feel like, and definitely setting the tone. I think that makes a huge difference. I know people have said like, oh, your sets are calm. And I realize I don't spend time on other people's sets that much, but I definitely have a rule about no yelling, or like I never want an AD that's a screamer. I think it's so unnecessary. So I do think that the atmosphere is important, and I could I bet from your movie that it was because of your demeanor that it was calm. I'm sure.
Well, I feel like I think yelling everything, but I feel like more importantly, it's like it just can't ever turn personal, because we're all there to do work. And I think to me, I'm like that. When you talk about motherhood, I felt that way. So
you
much.
want to take care of your people.
Because I'm not a mother, and it really, I think, directing a movie made me realize that I could do it. I could be a mom. There was a real revelation for me, because before I made Past Lives, I was like, can I be a mom? Like, is that something that I can do? And then once I made it, I'm just like, I can do it. You
can do anything after that. If it's true that you're taking care of people and everyone's looking to you at the same time, when your kid falls down, they look at you, and then you have to be like, yeah, you're fine. Yeah, so it's a similar thing.
Yeah, you were so right. So you're just like, and I think you're just holding down the, right? You're just holding it down, and even when you're scared,
you have to.
You can't let the
you
kids
can't show
know.
it. Yeah. So you're
you
all
can let
set.
your partner know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, I feel like, and sometimes the partner's different. Usually, I feel like my producer is usually they're the partners that I can go to them and say like, I am scared, right?
Yeah. No, I love having I have a producer that I work with all the time, and I feel like I could follow. I don't have to be strong with him. Yeah. But I always remember like I was having a hard time right before I was about to start shooting on Priscilla, and we had to like cut a bunch of the script down like the week before, and my kids were calling from. I was in Toronto, my kids were in New York, and they needed me, and I was just like, and I looked at my DP, and he's really sensitive, and I looked like I was about to fall apart, and I was like, I'm going to be strong, and he's like, you don't have to be strong all the time. Like, it was so sweet, but having those relationships with your crew that you really trust and that you can have doubts and be vulnerable, I feel like is so
totally. I feel like you can always ask for help from them.
Yeah.
You know. There was a moment where I was like. Everything had gone very badly for that day, and we didn't know if we were going to get what we needed and for all the technical reasons.
Right.
Basically, we were trying to catch this one sunset, and we had a whole plan about catching the sunset. And that day, because it was cloudy, there was no sun.
Oh, no.
And we scouted that location like 10 times.
For that
sunset. And we had prepped it for the sunset. And there was no sun to set.
Oh.
And
so what did you do?
Well, it was funny because there's a part of it because we had invested so much into that sunset that we were all like, I don't know, you don't want to give up on it.
Right.
So in a funny way, I think that me and my DP and our whole crew, we were like acting like a miracle was going to happen. Right. But of course, miracle didn't happen. And then there was a moment where I had to be like, well, the miracle is not coming. So we're going to have to go and ask our actors to bail us out, and that's what happened. So I asked my actors Theo and Greta, who were waiting to go, and I went to them and I was like, and it's kind of like that. You're just being like, well, so mommy needs help, you know. Of like, hey, like, there's no sunset. We have time for maybe 3 takes, so you're gonna have to bail us out.
Meaning that they're going to have to make the magical moment.
They're going to have
to
make
without
it
a
happen.
sunset.
We shot it without the sunset, but it's the scene in front of the carousel. Where it's just like a one, you know, and it's just one position for the camera, and then we just do the whole scene there. And we just roll on that 3 times.
Until you lose the light.
Until we lose the light. And then, but of course, like, when I was in the edit, I was like, oh.
You don't even...
the sunset was going to be too much.
See, it always works out the way... I feel like it always works out the way it's supposed to.
I don't know. I feel like there must be sometimes I'm like, well, there's a movie god, and sometimes the movie god is blessing you.
Yeah,
you know?
But I think I feel like in experience it always works out the way it's supposed to. Like sometimes if an actor ends up falling out, you can't get them, you have to get someone else, and then you're always like, oh, I'm so glad it was them. Like they're so much better than that. So I feel like I feel like there is
the right person is the right person always.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and things like that. Like it would have been too much. Like I feel like it. Yeah. Well, you just have to make what you can with what you have. But I think usually it works out the way it's meant to or something.
Exactly.
You just have
I mean, is it delusion? But I don't think.
No, I don't think
sometimes
so.
it's objectively better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Often
think,
it's
I think that's the excitement of it, because you lose a location or the weather or something, and you have to figure it out, and then you come up with something that you might not have thought of, right? But
I mean, I feel like what I always think about with your films is of course, casting is everything, but I feel like the way that your voice is also seen through casting. I always think about that so much.
I loved your cast.
Yeah, I loved your cast too. And I feel like your cast is like, you can tell what I feel like the director's voice is actually seen very much through casting, and I feel like I was always so curious about the way that you cast. Like, what was your process of, thinking about Jacob and
Yeah,
Kaylee?
I loved your cast. I think it is. I guess it's a reflection of your taste, or like how you see a woman and what qualities. And, and I guess I never thought about that. The personality of the person does come through. So I think it's just. I usually just think I meet people, and the people that you connect with, you think that they have the same sense of humor, or they seem smart, or like, it's like a taste thing of like how they would, and then you trust them of like how they would approach things. I feel like when I first worked with Kirsten Dunst, I felt like it was my first film, and just having that, like being on the same wavelength, helped me so much, because she got what I was talking about without having to explain so much, and then as we worked together over the years, like that's something that I love, having that rapport. But don't you think it's just you're drawn to certain people, and talking to them, they kind of get what you're talking about, because they have to convey what you have in your mind.
Totally. And it's like, if they get it, they get it, right?
Yeah.
And I do think it's about a taste thing too, because sometimes I can't explain why that's the right person, even though if you were to break it down objectively, like maybe like the person that I don't think is right and the person that I do think is maybe most people can't tell the difference. Yeah. But I know.
Yeah, I feel like whoever you're just excited about. That's how when I can't tell, I'm just like, who would I be excited to see in that part?
Totally.
But that's a big part when I'm writing that motivates me. Like the part I love is like getting the actors there and seeing them play it out. Do you imagine sometimes actors when you were writing that, or
I have real trouble doing that.
Yeah. Well, this story seems so personal.
Yeah.
Were you just kind of putting yourself into it? How autobiographical was it?
Well, I feel like I would say it was like inspired by an autobiographical moment, because it's like the opening scene of sitting between the child sweetheart who come to visit and your husband.
Oh, I love that opening, yeah.
And that was happening.
Like, what's going on? Did that happen to you?
That happened to me.
Wow.
And I was sitting there with my child sweetheart, who was now a friend, and had come to visit me from Korea. And it wasn't like that kind of a thing, but we did speak a separate language than the one I have with my husband, who I live with in New York City.
And he doesn't speak English?
He doesn't speak English, and my husband tries but doesn't really speak Korean. And I think that really translating between these two people and realizing, both of them know a part of me that the other person doesn't know. And also but they're trying. What a beautiful thing that they're trying to know what the other person knows, right?
Yeah, and the different sides of yourself.
Different sides of myself, but also like I felt like, well, I'm only whole. I can only be known wholly if both of them are here, right? I can only be known by them collectively if they both are trying to communicate what they know about me.
Right, or you're the only one.
I'm the only one also. So I had to be loved in this way, and that's the only way I could be loved in full. Right, and how good they were to each other, and how much they wanted to be decent to each other. That was such a moving thing, And I think that moment was the inspiration for the whole thing.
That's so interesting.
And so I feel like when it comes to autobiographical things, some of it is about like, well, what does the character want? And sometimes it's like, well, this part of autobiography is really interesting for the character. Right. And some of it I'm just like, it's not that interesting. But,
Right.
So I think it was kind of like a puzzle for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like that's one, but I feel like in general in my life, I don't think I've ever been able to write for a specific actor, because
you're thinking about moments of,
right, because you're trying to create characters that sort of exist for the film alone.
Right.
And I wish that I was a little bit more like, well, blah, blah, if I get blah, blah, blah for this role, it'd be perfect. But it's usually, and also I want to see new sides of actors too.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause
I think that's exciting when you see someone you're like, that they could do something that they haven't shown before.
I love that.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
Because it's like I want to always be able to say that to the actor that I'm working with every day, to be like, we're gonna do something new today.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a little bit, I don't know. I think it's like otherwise. I think they feel like tools or objects for the thing.
Yeah, you want
right?
it to be exciting and a challenge.
Yeah,
for
you want it to
everyone.
feel like it's a relationship we're having.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that you're finding it together. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Did you, with that, it's so, I mean, it makes sense that story came from that moment. Did you ever explore that in a play before you decided to make it as a film?
No.
Or were you thinking, you were thinking about a film and that story could fit as a film instead of a play?
Well, I think that I actually felt like the film was the only way that this particular story could work.
Right.
Right? Because it spans decades and continents. So it kind of is like you kind of need to feel the location
Places.
and the
Yeah.
because it's like my joke is usually that it's like the villain of the story is 24 years in Pacific Ocean, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's the reason why they're not together. It's not
Right.
because of anything else. It's because of the way that our lives sort of work
Change.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And I assume that when you're working on Priscilla, part of it is that you fell in love with the book of it, right?
Yeah. I was just in her book. I thought I was surprised with that there were parts that were relatable and just like the human aspect that any girl gone through these different moments, and then like to hear that what she went through, and it was just surprising. And just that the complexity of their relationship and I think, I don't know, I guess they're related to that we all go through, or when you're younger you can be in relationships where you think it's your whole life, and then of course it just becomes a moment in your life that shapes you, and just how much you'll learn and put up with in a relationship, and just kind of what you went through. I thought it was relatable to that experience of being young and crushes, and
of course, but also like the wanting to be in a relationship with like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because
like,
that's who Elvis was.
Yeah.
Because Elvis was just like the biggest possible star. It's like it's like the how teenage girls want to be in a relationship with like Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And like of course they're gonna, if
and
they could.
There's a lot of fan fiction about that.
Oh yeah. Or
like,
about like Harry Styles.
Like Harry Styles.
Right? Yeah.
There's a really famous one, I think.
Oh yeah.
But I don't totally get it, because I think it's like he like locks you up.
Oh,
I
really?
say, which I think is like, I was thinking about it. Yeah.
Oh, I never understood like those like 50 Shades of Grey. Did you ever read 9.5 Weeks? The
No,
book
I haven't read it. I haven't read 50 Shades of Grey either.
No, I haven't either.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
I mean, I think I tried to. They sent it to me when they were making it.
They
I was like, no way. I don't insult anyone, but it's just like, this is
I mean, I think it's just that thing where it's like it's funny, the desire to be dominated by the person that you adore.
Yeah, I don't get that as an adult, but I can see it as a teenager that it's
I
like
think so.
There's so much mystery and
I mean, I wonder if it's also part of like being such a because something that really struck me about your movie, Priscilla is such a good girl.
Oh yeah,
right.
But I feel she has a rebellious.
But that's what I
side.
mean.
Yeah.
But I think that I was a pretty good girl when I was little, and I think that part of it is like when you're a good girl, but you want all these, but you're so like you're burning for something, right? And a part of it is that you just have a bad desires.
Yeah.
Because up at school, like I'm like I do my homework, I show up, I'm so
me
like
too. I'm not that rebellious.
Yeah. Were you like this as well? Like
yeah.
So, but then I feel like because of that,
you want to have another side.
You want to have another
darker.
side.
Yeah.
And what an amazing thing that your other side is for Priscilla. It's being a secret relationship with Elvis.
Yeah. To me, it's like the ultimate of all the kind of desires of that age.
Yeah. That you don't want to be. Like you've been in so much trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a special feeling. But then you're in so much trouble, but you're so in love, and he's the most powerful pop person ever.
It's so crazy, but I think
really
it's like
crazy.
super romantic and
So but it's not what it seems too.
Yeah. No, I love that it looks like this like fairy tale, and then the darkness of it. Wait, I'm excited that about like you starting in this as a film. How did you put your team together? Because I feel like it takes a while to find your team.
Yeah.
And this being your first film, did you know any of the crew before, or how did you find them?
I show them my script, and then they wanted to do it. Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, I usually
okay.
call it like I would call it like my seduction technique. Like in Animal Kingdom, they
yours
have
is
like
writing. That's your superpower.
I just have to show them the script, and of course, like the script is meant as like a kind of a pitch document, right? Because it's meant to be like, this is the kind of movie it's going to be.
Yeah.
So it's like if they wanted to come and do it. And by the way, it's not like most of the people, first person that we were sent to, they would read it and they want to do it. But I think sometimes you don't get it, and then that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and then I'm like, oh, that's such a lovely way to know
if they're the
if
right,
they're the
fit
right
for
person.
you. That's true.
Right, because I'm like, well, the movie that I want to make isn't changing, so if they don't really think that it's cool,
Then
that's
not
totally
the right person.
okay.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
wise of you. I remember when I was trying to do Lost in Translation, and I met a few different producers, and my script was very slim and like it was very, very minimal. And I remember some producer being like, "Oh, we'll work on the story more," and like just didn't get it at all. And then I met another producer. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is cool. We can do it." And then so I ended up working with them. So it's true. Maybe your project just finds who clicks with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is like dating, where
Yeah.
we're just like, well, for somebody, you're exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't want to be with anybody who is not
Doesn't
that you're not
get
that for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I think so much of it is a sensibility.
Exactly.
And I love the guy who plays your husband.
Yeah.
Had you worked with him in the theater?
No, I met all of them
Oh, wow.
in like audition or a meeting.
Did you know Greta from?
No, I didn't know her.
Yeah, I didn't know her from. I hadn't watched that show, but she was more of a comedy person.
Yeah. I think most of her work was in like comedy. A lot of it was in TV,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then so she auditioned. She sent in a tape.
Oh wow.
You know, and Teo, who plays Haesung, he sent in a tape.
Oh wow. Did you know right away when you saw them?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just do.
Yeah, you just meet them,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I think it's you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. And then you just try to see if you're right. So that's
Yeah.
what the audition was, like my callback
Oh,
audition, which I
yeah.
did like for like 3 hours each.
Oh wow.
Like I talked to Greta for 2.5 hours. I talked to Teo for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it's because that's just to confirm
That you guys can spend this time together.
Yeah. And also I like need to know like that my instinct is right.
Yeah.
Right? Because you meet them and you're like, I think you're right.
Yeah.
But then you have to be like,
Yeah.
okay.
Check it out a little.
Exactly.
Second date.
Second date. You just have to keep pushing on the date and being like, are we right about this together? Are we
Yeah.
right about this? Well, we're not quite right about that, but we know that we have this other common ground, you know? So I think it's like getting to know them. in that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
When you're in the theater, did you direct plays too?
No, I just wrote.
But the writer's more the prominent
yeah.
voice in
They're
theater.
the author.
Right.
Yeah,
so
they're
you're
the auteur.
always working with the director about like how you want the
Yes.
tone or whatever.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that different from what you had done in it.
No, I learned it's not that much different at
Yeah.
all, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So cool.
yeah, I mean, I feel like when you met Kaylee and Jacob, like, did you also feel like, I think this is the right person, or does it
Yeah.
take you a longer courtship?
No, I just met Kaylee. I met them each once, and then I was like, and then I looked at other people's tapes and stuff, but I always came back to them.
Yeah.
I learned from when I was casting somewhere, Elle Fanning. I met her when she
Yeah.
was 11, and Fred Roos, who helps me, that we met her and we loved her.
Yeah.
But he's always like, we have to be thorough, we have to meet everyone, but she's the one to beat. So I always remember that. So she's our favorite. And then we met all these girls, and everyone was like, no, they're not Elle. So
Yeah.
I think when you meet someone, you just know. But then there's that kind of thoroughness of making sure you meet everyone.
Totally.
But I feel like it's like, yeah, you
One to
get
beat.
excited. You see them as that, and
Yeah.
you're excited about seeing them in that part.
Oh yeah. It's
But
like
what?
yeah.
I want to ask you about writing, because I find that the hardest part. Do you when you get stuck? Do you ever get stuck, or like do you have rituals around writing, or
I think
do you
all the time.
procrastinate a lot? Like, do all writers procrastinate?
I think so.
Are you disciplined about writing?
No. Well, I think that the discipline, I think, comes in a different shape, right? Because I feel like, am I disciplined? Do I like write 5 hours a day? No.
Do you
know?
have an office that you go to, or do you write at home?
To the kitchen table?
Oh yeah, I've done that, but now that I have kids, I have to get out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I feel like I would say it's the I would say it's the hardest part anyway.
And your husband's a writer.
Yeah, he's a writer. So I feel like, but a part of it is like you're just, I don't know, you just feel like a little piece of broccoli, you know, on the kitchen counter for most of the process of writing. Like you're just so useless for so long.
Yeah, do you ever, know? Like, I know that thing of having like an inkling of idea, but you don't know the rest of it. And then do you feel like you just have to force yourself to...
Well, I think that I feel like I can't start unless I know how it's going to go and how it ends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But that's that's where the procrastination comes in.
It's just walking around and thinking about it.
And then like, just like writing like 3 lines of dialogue and then calling it a day. Like, you know?
Just doing, but you have to force yourself when you don't feel like it just to do something.
Well, I feel like I usually find it to be, if there's an assignment.
Yeah.
There's an adaptation. There's an assignment.
Right.
Those I can do.
Yeah, me too. But when you have to write your own personal thing.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit more like you just sit and then you just kind of like, I don't know. I wish that I knew how to describe it in a way that sounds more like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go.
No, I find it the hardest.
But it's just, you just sit there and you're just like, well, I clearly don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Never been able to do it.
Yeah.
Was I ever good? Right? Yeah. Was I ever able to do it?
Yeah.
How did I finish that last script? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you just are like, just
I'll do it.
Little piece of broccoli just sitting on the side of the kitchen, just the kitchen counter drying out. And then eventually you're like, oh, wait, maybe that's...
Right. Can add.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes I just like make stuff up because I need something and then it ends up being part of the story, even though I feel like it's just some dumb thing that happened to me. So I put it in because I need some pages.
Well, I think about that when it comes to like, you're talking about just the dumb thing that you just kind of worked on part of it, where it's like, I think it is kind of like that. I think we have to allow ourselves to be, allow ourselves to be bad and stupid.
Yeah, because I guess your subconscious is part of it at some point. Did you ever hear about, there's like, it was really popular in the 90s, The Artist's Way, this book that we used to do like morning pages.
Yeah.
My friend was looking at it again, or someone told me to get it for my daughter, and then I was like, oh, should we do this, like with the morning pages? I haven't done it, but I wondered if...
It's like a prompt or something, right?
I think it's just the idea that every morning you write a couple pages without thinking about it, and it's supposed to like get your creativity flowing, but I don't know.
I mean, I feel like I wonder if that's for morning people.
Yeah, it's
I'm not a morning. Are you a morning person?
No, I used to write at night. Yeah, I stayed up all night writing, but now with kids, I can't do that. So, but there's something about there's less pressure at night. I feel like you're not really part of the real working world. This is like it makes it more like a hobby or like something like a freedom in that.
I agree. I mean, what's your working hour? How are your working hours usually?
I don't know, but I used to just stay up all night writing, and then so
I'm like
enjoy that while you can. But with having kids, then I had to figure out like just getting out of going to a little office and then sitting there. Or I find it a lot when I leave. Like if I go away for a couple of days on my own, then I can kind of just get lost in it. It's hard to kind of switch with being responsible, and I feel like when you're in the mode of a story, you kind of need to be lost in it. So
I think so. And then sometimes it happens inconveniently.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm about to walk into something and I'm already like, I want to go and work on that
thing.
Oh,
yeah. When you get obsessed with it, then it's exciting. I feel there's a lot of like not knowing what you're doing, and then you get really into something.
Totally.
Are you working? Are you writing now? Do you know what you're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I am trying to write, but I think that's the issue. Like,
it's hard when you're still talking about this with me, probably.
Yeah, but the beginning of it, I think it's like a lot of procrastination, a lot of like feeling like a broccoli. And then I feel like it gets to a place where I feel like then I become like a kind of a demon for that thing.
Yeah.
And then I just need like, it usually takes me like 4 weeks to write a script, right?
Well, that's fast.
You know, it's really fast, but that's because I don't do anything else for those 4 weeks,
you just
right? Like I cancel all my plans.
Oh yeah, you're
I don't leave, right?
Yeah.
And I just like, I eat, and when I eat, that's when I do emails. You know what I mean? Like it's like so
you just
intense.
get obsessed.
Yeah, it just becomes like demonic.
So do you just kind of walk around and think about something until it gels enough that you can go into that mode?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's more like I just need to get this done by the end of the month. Like sometimes it's just like not even like eureka. Sometimes it's like I have a bunch of eurekas, but more importantly, I want to get it done this month. I'm no longer interested in.
Right. You just want to get it out. Did you have like a few ideas that you were thinking about before, or do you feel pressure after this movie that everyone's excited to see your next movie?
I feel like, I think the pressure is, I feel like, how you see it. Because I feel like the first movie was a tremendous amount of pressure, too, right? In a way.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just thought because people are so love this movie and they're waiting for the next one, do you feel? I don't know. Do you feel more pressure? Or I shouldn't put. I don't want to say that.
No, not at all.
Make
No,
it
I know
worse.
what you mean, but I think it's like, to me, I'm like, in a way, no, because it has to be good anytime. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
true.
you're not gonna walk into your next movie being like, well, it's not my second one, so I'm chill.
Yeah. No,
Like,
it's always.
You're always as good as the
pressure.
thing that you just made.
Yeah,
right?
it's true. You always want to make something that.
Yes.
That you don't want to put energy into something that you don't feel is the best
No.
version of it. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
So in a way, like, I don't think it's any more of a pressure
Yeah.
just because, in a way, I feel like it's less because at least
yeah.
people know
That you know
what
how
I
to do
did.
it. Yeah, that you know how to do it. And at least you know
Yeah.
to yourself, for yourself
Yeah.
too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just remember after my first film, Virgin
Yeah.
Suicides, like doing these young director things. And there was another director who had made her first film.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, do you? And she was like, oh yeah, I know it all. What I'm doing. I was like, oh, okay. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I was just
but
like,
you
I feel like I have to wander after each thing and just sort of
Yeah.
feel like the other one has to sink in before I know where I'm going next.
Right.
I
I mean,
know.
but then your second movie is Lost in Translation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But I was so like did not know what. But I always had
Totally.
little inklings of wanting to do something from my experiences there.
Of course.
So
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like my answer, my kind of answer when someone asks me about the stress around the second film, I'm
Yeah.
always just like, there's so many filmmakers whose second films are amazing, and I hope to be one of them.
Yeah.
And I think about you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
thank you.
yeah, because I'm like, what are you talking about? Sophia's nobody like the second film, Slump or whatever. I'm just like, you know
Sophomore
who
slump.
didn't have one?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sophomore slump. It's like,
Okay.
you know who didn't have one? Sofia Coppola. So.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I could be.
Of course.
But I remember like that moment of like, now I'm doing this. I fought so hard to make my first movie, and then it
Yeah.
was like, oh, now I can do this. Now what?
Yeah.
But
of
well, I'm
course.
glad. Well, I'm excited to
Me
to see
too.
your next one.
I can't wait to show you the next one. I can't wait to make it, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's-
Yeah. No, it's fun when you have your team and.
Oh,
Do you think
yeah.
do you want to keep working? Well, we shouldn't say with the same people because
Yeah.
no. But yeah,
No.
now you know. I find that exciting when you have
I love
people
it.
that you have your team.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, yeah, I think that I want my department heads, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you just meet them and then
Yeah.
you have an amazing experience working with them, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
All I just want to
yeah.
do is do it again. I mean,
Yeah.
Do you get itch? Do you feel the itch to go back?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny because at the end I'm like, I never want to do this again, and my husband's like, you say that every time. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. So now I'm like thinking like, oh, I want to try to not rush into something else and kind of catch up on life because you put it all aside.
Yeah.
But then I get excited about like certain actors. I'm like, oh, I would love to do something with them. And Kirsten, I always
Yeah.
want to find something we can do together. But
She's so amazing.
so yeah.
Ugh.
So that part like motivates me, and like my great AD that I love in Toronto that I was telling you, like
Yeah.
I had such a great team on Priscilla that and I loved working in Toronto. So I feel like, oh, there's this whole setup. I never used built sets on stages before,
Yeah.
so that like inspired me now that like, oh, you could do anything, and yeah, so
And
it's always exciting and
The
scary.
build set, I feel like it sounds not glamorous, but then every time I walked into because we have built sets for past lives.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It
the
look-
dorm room.
Oh yeah, it looks so natural. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's amazing teams.
Yeah.
You know, the dorm room and the Haesung's room where they do
Oh,
Skype
right.
together, because we needed to figure out how to do a live Skype acting.
Oh, so you're doing
Right.
it at the same time.
So we're doing it at the same time.
Oh, that's so smart.
So-
And don't you also for the state the tax thing? Don't you have to do like certain percentage on stage?
Yeah.
Did you shoot in New York?
I should have shot in New York. Yeah, I shot in New York for 25 days, and then we shot in Korea for 10 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And in Korea, the set is even cheaper and faster. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
so we
Wow.
had some set there. We had built the set there and built the set in New York. And I remember being like, man, shooting on set, what even is that? And then you go in and you're just like, you can move walls,
I know.
put camera wherever you want, and then I
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
and you can control everything.
Yeah, I know, it's
You
such
know.
a different, I always thought like, oh, it has
Yeah.
to be in a real place to feel real.
Yeah.
But then once you do that, it's like, yeah, you could do anything.
Yeah.
Do you go to Korea often, or had you not been back for a long time?
I hadn't
Since
been back
your
since like
childhood?
2015.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I went back. I went back to visit my family there, but then I hadn't been. And then, but also this is the first time I went to Korea to work.
Oh, wow.
So it's the first time I like met people in film, met
Oh,
people who
wow.
like work and do things, and
That's so cool.
I don't know. It was
I've
really
never
cool.
been.
You never been?
No,
You've never been?
No, I really want to
You
go.
have to go.
Yeah, I want to go to Seoul. Am I pronouncing?
Yeah, I think you should go to Seoul, and I think you should go to Busan. I think you should
Okay,
go to.
I'm gonna check with
Maybe
you
you want to go
before.
to Jeju too. Like I feel like this little island.
wow.
It's kind of where you go for honeymoon. It's like Hawaii of in
Oh,
Korea,
wow. Okay, I'm gonna
and
get a
it's
list
really.
from
You just have to. I think you'll feel really like happy and inspired there.
Oh, cool.
Food's great.
Yeah, okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna get
yeah.
your list before I go.
Yeah, exactly. You have.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like everyone always asks me like which part of the process you like the best, the editing. But it's
What's
like
your What's your favorite?
it's hard to say because they all. I think writing the least, except for like when you hit print and you finish a draft, then that's the best. But I think writing is kind of lonely. And
Yeah.
But I love editing
I love editing.
because you have all your stuff and putting it together. But it's fun to be on set too. But I think editing, you don't have the pressure of the time pressure. You know, you can
Yes.
just play around.
Well, yeah, I mean, my line producer asked me the question, fuck, marry, kill, pre-production, production, post-production.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Post-production
my-
is kill?
No, so it's like you tell them which you would fuck and which you would marry and which you would kill.
Oh, okay.
Right? But the
I thought it was like the
options are
stages.
no,
like you
the
fuck, then you
options
marry.
are prep, production, and post-production.
Oh.
And for me, I would fuck production, because it's like so exciting.
Yeah.
Right, and then you
Yeah.
have limited time, but there's so much that can happen. It's
Yeah.
unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's a lot of energy from like
Yeah.
hundreds of people.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Really ups and downs, and then it's just like it's all like everybody's like passionate and like we're trying
Yeah.
to figure it out. We're
Yeah.
gonna do the
And there's
best
the rush.
today.
Yeah.
Post-production, I would marry. It's day in and day out. It's like partnership.
Yeah.
You know, and you feel connected to it, and then
Or-
every day it gets better,
Yeah.
right? And hopefully, and then sometimes some
Doesn't
days
ha-
it doesn't, and then you're grumpy, and you're annoyed, but also you do it again, and it's amazing,
Yeah.
right? And then you build
Yeah.
on something.
Yeah,
You build a
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And pre-production, I would kill,
Yeah.
mostly because it makes me feel
It's
like
stressful.
it's stressful. Also, like I think it was especially hard because my first film, because I'm being asked to make these massive binary decisions.
Oh, and you've never seen it before.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh wow, that's gonna cost how much? $200,000.
Yeah.
And I have to make a decision to spend that $200,000 right now.
Before you've seen it. Yeah,
I've
you're
seen
right.
anything. I don't have even a centimeter of film,
Yeah.
right? But I'm saying like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
do
we
it.
do
It's
this.
beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing.
That's true. I always feel like in prep, I'm like, let's just get started already.
I
Like it feels like
know.
it takes forever. Like it's just a
I
million
know.
schedule meetings. I'm like, let's just do it.
Well,
so
we
yeah.
need it though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really think prep is so.
Yeah. But to me, it's like doing homework. Or like, yeah, it's like, let's just get to it. But it, no, the visual part is fun. Like I love
Visual part is fun,
the
yeah.
art department, the costumes, but the
Yeah.
scheduling, not so fun. But
Scheduling, that's so fun,
Yeah.
but also like I don't know. I think sometimes I can get my, Virgo or organizer.
Oh
brain.
yeah, I'm like, how are you gonna do it? That is fun. When
Yeah.
you figure out like, we'll do this there, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, well, what if
Yeah.
we put this over here?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's
that can
true.
feel kind of fun,
That's true.
but I don't like the part of like not knowing what the movie's gonna be, but everybody's looking at you to
Yeah.
believe in it because
Yeah. Yeah.
right, because
Yeah.
like being a director is like you're the center of the
Captain of the ship.
captain of the ship, so you need to be like, we know where
Yeah, we know
we know where we're going.
Yeah. But I do feel like sometimes I'll be like, I'm not sure. I need a second to think about it, which I think is good to know that you can
Yes.
do that. You don't always have to pretend. Like I remember my dad saying that, and like that even he
Yeah.
was like, wait, I'm not sure. I need to think about it. And I was like, well, if he can say that, like, you don't have to always pretend like everyone's looking at you. You don't have to pretend like you know what you're doing all the time.
Yes,
Like,
of course.
or like ask, like you can think it. You can take a second to think about it
Yeah.
and figure it out.
Well, I feel there's such power in saying like, well, I don't know yet.
Yeah. It's true. It takes more strength.
I actually need some help figuring it out. You know,
Yeah.
it's so powerful, actually.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, because people want to help. People
Yeah,
want to be a part of
totally.
it, you know?
Maybe that helps not being like a macho guy. That you're okay to be
I
like,
know.
I don't know, I need help. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that
Yeah.
was such a magical thing.
Mm.
You just want to just want to help. You just want to help
Yeah.
this.
You
You know,
have all
like,
these people around helping
I'm
you.
confused. You know, help me.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone helping you.
It's great.
I know. I was thinking I wanted to ask you sometime. I'll
Yeah.
ask you when we're not filming that. I have an idea for a play, but I just have a concept. I have
Yeah.
the setting, but I don't know. Would have no idea
Yeah.
the rest of it. So the audience is like the screen, and it's a family, and all the dynamics between the family.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a one-act play, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to.
I love
yeah,
that. Well, I feel
yeah.
like you already know how it is. It's just more like
Who the characters are.
Yeah.
And
And-
I think I love when the dynamics are. It's like under the surface, and you're saying one thing but meaning another thing,
course.
which I guess you just have to feel your way through. That's the
Totally.
best kind of writing.
Well, I
but-
feel like it's probably about what's away from the room.
Oh,
Right?
what's happening in
In the
before and
other-
after?
Yeah.
Or another
Or
room.
I mean,
Yeah.
just like it's in another room. Because I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like that's very Chekhovian to me, what you're describing.
Oh,
Because I mean, like death and shootings happen outside of the
right.
what I would say a frame, which is the stage.
Yeah,
Right. Like
yeah,
outside
yeah.
of it is where all that drama
So
happens.
think about what's happening outside of.
Yeah,
the
and then
moment.
you can conceal and reveal so
People can come in and out
easily.
Oh,
yeah,
that's really helpful.
I think really
never
true.
thought about how to.
Yeah.
There's one like just like dynamics with like certain characters have issues with certain ones, but yeah, the real drama is happening outside of the.
Well, yeah, I mean, some
frame.
of the drama can happen there, and then there's such power in somebody walking into the stage,
Yeah.
which is of course the
Yeah.
frame. If you got to think about that as a
Yeah.
frame, and you
Yeah.
can only put the camera in one place.
Right.
and
So
that's it.
what's happening
That's the whole frame.
outside of that?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
same
fun to think
logic, and
about.
and just an actor entering into that space is so
Yeah.
much more powerful than.
Because you're like, yeah,
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
it's a new
'cause there's
person shows up.
Oh yeah, it's so amazing. Everybody's
Yeah.
just like, and the thing is, it's like the close up or the focus
Right.
is happening through blocking,
Yeah,
right? Just a person stepping, no one's moving, and one person stepping
comes in.
forward.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of a close up.
Oh yeah, and
Right?
when I was doing the stage, I was like, what do you do without a close up? Like it's
Yeah,
like
I
a different,
know.
different thing. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Or they can be like, you can step into the light. There's so many
Yeah.
ways that you can do the close up. That you can do the
with
blocking.
it. Oh,
and
that's cool.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
fun
know.
when I think about that. Did you see that play Stereophonic?
no,
It was I saw it at Playwrights Horizon.
cool.
But,
When'd you see it? This
like
season?
but it just closed, but it's coming to Broadway in March. You should go
Cool, I'll
see
see
it.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I loved it. My husband's a musician, and
Yeah.
all takes place in a recording studio.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I
And
want
so
to go
they
see
use
this.
like what's happening in the room, and then behind the glass, and
Yeah.
and it's based on like Fleetwood Mac making rumors. But the
Oh.
way the sound is, it was really. I thought it was really cool.
I love that.
Yeah,
Is there
and-
singing?
Yeah,
That's
and their voices are incredible, and it sounds
course.
really corny because it's like fake version of 70s Fleetwood Mac style music, so it sounds like it'd be awful, but the music's really good.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really. I thought it was really.
Okay, I'm gonna go
impressive.
see it.
I don't
March?
see that much either, but I loved how they used the space, and
Oh
it
yeah.
was really cool.
Well, I feel
So-
like I think that's the thing about blocking. Like
Yeah.
blocking has to do all the storytelling
Yeah,
and dialogue.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
fact that they had the glass partition, so you can't hear. You can turn the sound off and on in the different
Totally.
spaces. It was cool, but
Well,
that's so helpful.
It
Thank
is.
you for
I think it's
that,
true, and I think it's also like usually the difference that I think about is like the time and space is so literal in film.
yeah.
So if you want to have an old lady, then you need to cast an old lady.
right.
But in theater, you don't have to do any of that. Like a kid can show up and say like, "Well, I'm 92,"
Oh.
right? And the whole audience is gonna
Go
believe
along
it,
with
right?
'Cause you're-
Or like it can be like, if you want to make a movie set on Mars, you have to build Mars
right.
or go to Mars.
Yeah.
But in theater, all you have to
Just
do
be-
is like,
have a
I
rock.
can sit on a couch like this,
Yeah,
right? Exactly.
yeah.
Maybe not even a rock.
Mhm.
Like, just turn the light a little red,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then just
Oh,
be like,
yeah.
so I got to Mars,
Yeah.
right? And then the whole
Yeah.
audience will come with you to Mars.
That's so cool. That's fun
So
to
that's the
think
strength
about.
of it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm curious because it's so mysterious and
Yeah.
unfamiliar to me, but it's.
I
fun to
think you'll
about.
love it. Is it true?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna think
Okay.
more. It's really helpful what you said about the stage.
Yeah.
Okay, These are some questions, I guess, from
Give me some
people.
too.
Okay.
you.
People wrote in.
Ooh.
The first one is heartbreak necessary for a great love story? I think so. Yeah.
I would say, I feel like,
I mean, all the great ones have heartbreak.
yeah. Because I feel like at the end of the day, love stories about like the stories that are, it's about the biggest drama of our lives.
Yeah, and you
Right.
need some obstacle or hindrance, or else it would be
Yeah.
boring. And all love
It'd be
stories
really
have
boring.
something to overcome.
I think so. Because otherwise, then
know.
you're like, well, what is it worthy of telling a
Yeah,
story?
and heartbreak is just romantic, and it touches you in the deepest way.
course.
I think so. I feel like
Yeah.
it's essential.
Well, heart is, it's meant to be broken. And that's how you
Yeah.
grow, too.
Yeah,
Right?
and all the love stories that I love always have a
Of course.
tragic side. Did you ever read Spring Snow by Mishima?
Yes, of
Mhm.
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like,
God.
yeah, I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want it? One
okay.
of yours?
What's a genre you'd like to pursue more?
Oh, I always thought it'd be fun to do science fiction. That's something that
I
I
wanna
would
see
not
your
know how to do.
I want to see your science fiction so bad. Okay, cool.
What about you?
I want to do a Western.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it'd be really
Could
cool.
get women in it. I feel like westerns.
course.
I can't watch ones that are all guys because I get them all mixed up.
Oh
with
yeah,
who's
yeah,
who.
yeah. But I feel like it's like,
Mm.
but I think the position of it, like I feel like the macho of it and the way that it gets subverted is always really amazing.
Yeah.
And also like I like stories about like just like bravery.
Yeah, and it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like American West. It's such a
Of course.
tradition.
Well, it's
That'd be
like
cool.
it's
I'd like to
also,
see your western.
and
Wait,
it's
what?
also about like fame.
Oh.
Western. I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
westerns are about
Notoriety.
fame.
Yeah.
Notoriety, right?
Oh yeah.
I think it's really interesting.
No, that's cool. I would love
Yeah.
to see your western. Okay.
I want to see your sci-fi. So bad.
Where is your favorite spot to write?
It really is wherever I can. Like it truly is like wherever I can. I don't have a favorite spot. I think I like it. I like the plane.
Oh yeah, because no
Plane's
one
pretty
can
good,
interrupt
right?
you. Yeah,
Oh
I do
yeah.
too. That's a
What
good
about
answer.
what about you?
No, I agree about the plane, and also I think the lack of oxygen makes you feel like what you're writing is more exciting than it probably is. It's just like watching movies on the plane, or like
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's a good.
All right. If you had to watch one movie scene every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, that's really hard. One
I know.
scene.
One scene.
I don't know. Do you have one?
I'm thinking.
I know. I have a favorite scene that I revisit a lot, which is in Barry Lyndon. There's a scene where Marissa Berenson has like a fur hood on, and he's smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
And he's blowing the smoke all over her, and she's really annoyed, and he has no perception of her at all. Like, it says so much in this one scene. So it's a scene that I revisit a lot.
Yeah.
And I looked out for when I was shooting a scene with Elvis and Priscilla in the limousine, and they're
Really?
like disconnected. But it says so much, and they don't say anything, and it's just.
I love that.
Yes, that's one of my favorite scenes.
That's
Do you have a
amazing.
scene that you revisit from time to time
I
that you
feel
love?
like, I think that there must be a scene in like a Miyazaki film.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Like, I bet
yeah.
that amazing scene in House Moving Castle where it's like just this beautiful feel beyond the door.
Yeah.
We're just like sitting there and just live there. I'm like, well, that feels like heaven to me.
Yeah.
So if I had to live,
Yeah.
I have to
live with the scene over and over.
yeah, over and over, and I'll just sit there and I'll just be like, it's like at a spa, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Did you watch the document? There's one documentary I saw of him.
Yes,
Miyazaki, that was
so good.
touching, so
He's
cool.
so dour.
Yeah, I love it.
He's like, I'm sick of this, and I'm like,
The
me
best.
too.
Yeah.
And your movies are like a dream. you
Yeah,
know?
I'm glad. Keeps going. Okay, this one says, how do you call action on your set if you do? So like,
I usually ask my AD to do it. Yeah. What about you?
That's so funny because there was always like a thing where like you have to say it yourself.
Oh.
But I don't mind when we're in a big loud thing for my AD to say it.
I usually
Or if
give
it's a small quiet area, I'll say
Totally.
it.
I usually give the AD the go ahead because he's the one who's checking if everything's speeding and everything.
Oh yeah.
So he knows
Yeah.
when to start.
Yeah.
And
You don't
he
want
has
to say
a-
it the wrong. I've done it
Yeah.
the wrong time, just like
Me
excited.
too.
before the
Yeah.
call, yeah.
I'm like, we're not ready, and I'm
Yeah.
saying it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, he knows when we're ready.
Yeah.
So he should just say when he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you don't mind who?
I
yeah.
think my dad always said, like, you have to say action because they know that you're the boss and, like, say it loud and stuff. So I'm in the habit of saying it, but
Yeah.
I'm happy for the AD too if we're outside and it's loud.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I know, they know I'm the boss.
Yeah.
You know
yes,
what I mean?
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't need to tell them.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah, I guess I do out of habit, but
Totally. This is for you specifically.
oh, okay.
Would you ever consider directing a horror movie?
Oh, yeah, I would, but I haven't thought about it. But
Yeah.
when I was a kid, we would make like little video movies, and we made horror movies because it was
Yeah.
just fun to like get blood out, and like we lived in an old Victorian house, so it felt very
Yeah.
conducive to horror movies.
I
But,
love that. I mean,
I don't really like gore, but
I wrote a horror script, but I would get so spooked
really
by my own because it
you
has to be
should
so
do it.
scary, but it has to be scary to me, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's scary to anybody else, but it's really scary to me.
What's the premise? Can you say, or you want to tell me after? So it's top secret.
It's just no, it's not top secret. I probably will never make it because I'll be too scared to make.
I want to see it.
I
know, but I don't like super scary.
I don't like
What's
it.
the setting?
It's truly like it's not even wild. It's a totally conventional like snowy cabin thing, but like this cabin is like fucked up, and that's it.
Oh,
and
the scary stuff that can happen.
But it's just so scary. It's like being like, it's like going there and then like this person acting like they know you, and then you realize that like, yeah, I guess you're my cousin, and you just kind of buy it. And then eventually and then you're stuck with them, and then you just realize I don't think this is my cousin.
Oh no!
To me, that's the scariest thing.
Oh, I used to always be scared of the body snatchers. I remember like telling my brother when I was little, like let's have a code word so like if you're snatched, like I'll know it's really you. But that body snatchers is really scary.
It's really scary, like 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 really it's like the person
closest to you taken over. Yeah.
Like there's a really scary when my childhood, one of the scariest stories that I heard in Korea, which is like it's like your mom starts laughing and then your mom goes like, "Do I look like your mom?"
Oh yeah,
and
that's
so scary.
Yeah.
Like, and I was too young, and I was like, "This is the scariest thing."
Yeah, that is.
Anyway, but
that is. What movie makes you cry every time?
There was a time where I don't know why, but Big Fish.
I never saw that.
It's a Tim Burton film.
Oh yeah, no, I never saw
with
that.
Like Ian McGregor.
Yeah.
For some reason, the ending of that, I think that would just kill me.
Oh, well, I never saw that movie, but I know what it is. And I love.
I think you should see it, but it's about. I don't know. I think that it's like. I don't know. I feel like weirdly, children could never make me cry, but old people could.
Yeah.
Older people could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I know. I don't know. I feel like on a plane, any movie will make me cry. But
like Transformers, you're crying.
Yeah, no, anything. I know. I feel like I'm trying to think. I saw. I know. It's really embarrassing. With my kids love that movie. It's called like Instant Family. About it's like a rom-com, but they adopt some foster children, and then I'm embarrassing crying at the end.
I think family just is like it's one of those things that you're just.
But I feel like Terms of Endearment is the classic if you want to cry.
Of course, who doesn't cry at that?
Yeah.
The performance too.
Yeah. Favorite film camera to use?
I only used one.
Yeah.
It's like so
it was digital, I imagine.
No, it was 35 millimeter film.
That's why it looked
Panavision. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And you shot digital?
I usually should. I always love film, but Priscilla was shot digitally, so I have a newfound. I was like, wow, you made it look beautiful. I always like to shoot film if I can, but we were in such a hurry.
Yeah.
I was impressed that it doesn't have that creepy digital feeling that.
It felt. I thought I was so sure it was shot on film. Your film. Yeah.
Thank you. I just and I think film has a different quality to it, but that's the magic of Philippe Lassorde, my DP. Like he I think it just depends because a lot of times it has like a digital look, but I don't know how he
went away.
Beautiful.
Because it really doesn't look digital at all. Not
Thank you.
But I feel I think some stories
sometimes I think it's
digitally.
I think it's harder with period films, but I liked Zone of Interest. Felt very crisp and digital to me. I don't know if it was.
Well, it was, I think, but I liked. But I think it's meant to be.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it depends on the. I really think
it depends on
the film.
But usually, I think period films you want to be on film because it's in the past. And digital feels more immediate, but that one
totally
is an exception. Well, so because
that's what it was. I mean, I feel like part of the shooting it on film was very much like, well, what do I know? Never made a movie before.
Yeah.
But my DP was talking to me about film. Yeah. And I think that it was a couple things. I was like, well, I want my DP to have a process that he believes in. Yeah. Right? Like every day, it's about the look of the whole film.
And he wanted to shoot on film.
Yeah, he wanted to shoot on film. And we were both talking. It's like, well, as long as we don't like destroy the budget, we'll do it.
Yeah, it's not really that.
We fought for it. It's so different.
Yeah.
But also, on top of that, I feel like the thing that I felt was like, well, it speaks to the philosophy of the movie, which is that like it is about like the ephemeral or time made tangible, right? and there's a part of it where it's like the chemistry of it, or the
Yeah, there's a little mystery.
yeah, which I think is like,
You feel.
or uncertainty. You don't know how it's
Yeah.
gonna turn out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That it spoke to what the movie is, and I think that's how it
I
should
think,
be.
Yeah, I think the story
Yeah.
depends on what. And
Story
yeah, I
what
don't
it
have like
is.
a favorite camera usually.
Yeah. Wait.
It's what the DP wants to use, and I always work with people that I love and respect, and
Yeah.
you want them to guide, how they think to shoot
Totally.
it best.
Well, I feel like it's like my DP showed me things, and I was
Yeah.
like, I like that.
Yeah.
You know.
What album do you have on repeat right now?
What album did? I feel like I've been listening to the Mitski's new album.
Who?
Mitski?
I don't know who that is.
Mitski. I think you'll like it.
Okay.
Mitski has the new album, and I listened to that on repeat. I listened to Hosier's new album on repeat.
I don't think I know
Yeah.
anything new.
What do you listen to? I don't know what you're listening
I
to.
don't know. This morning I was listening to Chet Baker, "Let's Get Lost," because it's
Listen.
winter
Like a
and we're
classic.
home. And
Makes sense.
So morning, so. But I don't have one that I'm over and over listening to.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when like a new album comes out, and I like the whole album, I just like to listen to it a lot.
I feel like my kids don't listen to albums; they just listen to playlists and different songs.
yeah.
But I like listening to the whole album.
Me too.
Getting into the whole.
Well, it depends on the musician, because like some
Yeah.
musicians, I'm like, I feel like this whole album, all the songs are a similar idea.
Yeah.
But then when there's like a bit of storytelling, or there's like a clearly like ebb and flow,
Yeah.
and like you want this beat to come,
It's a
like
whole. Yeah, it's a whole.
you listen to the
thing.
whole thing. Yeah. I know your husband is a musician. Like, does he recommend, or is it kind of a thing where it's like intentionally it means it's like he recommends less? You know what I mean?
Oh no, I feel like I feel bad 'cause I'm always like asking him to put music on. Like it's just like living with the music supervisor all the time. Like,
That's so
like
amazing.
for this occasion, like we make a playlist for cocktail party or whatever. So it's it's fun
Yeah.
because I love music. So it's fun to be with someone that knows a lot about music and has good taste, or I like their taste in
Yeah,
music.
I feel like
it helps me with my soundtracks and
that's amazing though.
Did you what did you do for? I can't remember the music. Did you have a score?
We did. Chris Bear and Dan Rawson from Grizzly Bear, they scored it.
Did
And
you just
then-
like their music and ask them to do it? Or
Yeah,
how did
I
that-
love their music, but I feel like it was also that like the conversation that I had with them, because of course one level I'm like, I'm 35, I'm like genuinely like they're like gods to me, right? Grizzly Bear is just like that's my they're the one. So it was on one level I was just like fangirling, but on the other level I also was like having to like really have a conversation, because of course you're like, well, do they want to be a part of a process where they're not crafting an album,
right?
right?
I'm sure it's
And
exciting to them.
I think it was.
But
which
did
is
you have to
amazing.
tell them if you don't like something? Was that hard?
Yeah.
But it was
I
fine.
mean, because again, everybody knows I'm the boss,
Yeah, yeah,
so
you could,
I have to be like,
yeah.
sadly, I'm the boss, and I it's not an album, it's a movie,
Yeah,
and I have
what I need.
we have to work on it together.
But yeah,
so.
I remember I liked the music, but I can't remember outside of that, which is good. I think that it supported the story.
Of course, well, I think that's what I really wanted more than anything. And
you
I
don't want it to be like, you want to be thinking about it.
No,
Yeah.
and also you don't want it to lead the audience.
I hate when scores are like really dramatic, telling you how to feel. It really bugs me.
Because my thing is like, then I think that the audience shuts down. Because I, as an audience member, shut down.
Yeah,
and
I'm like,
music
stop
is,
telling me what I'm supposed to be.
I
know.
know,
I hate that.
and I think so. I feel like it's like you kind of want the emotion to get there, arrive, and then you want the music to start.
Yeah,
right?
you have to kind of support that, but
to
let
support
them
that,
feel
to
it.
fully let them give them permission.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's a thing where it's like, if music, it's literally a timing of like, is this 6 more frames or later or earlier, right? And you're like,
it makes a big difference.
Makes a huge difference. And I think if you give audience room to feel it for themselves, and then you give them permission with score, as opposed to like, time to cry.
Yeah. No, I like when it has like goosebump. Yeah. No, I like when it has a goosebump effect, which is usually like after. Or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. I hate when it's.
I know, and I'm so sensitive to it.
Yeah.
So like,
me too.
yeah.
I want to ask you something off camera after. About that. About a movie. We can cut it out.
Totally. How did you enjoy the sound design process? Because I found
I love
it.
that. How did you find it?
Because I actually found it so intense for me. Like I was really obsessive. That's the only part where I think,
Yeah, I guess don't know. I've always loved that part because it's like all of a sudden it becomes a movie. Like it was a mess, and it just makes such a huge difference. I think. Luckily I have a family friend who's like an uncle who helped me with my first short film, and then I always worked with him, but he retired recently, so it's the first time without him, and I was like, oh no, I can't. So I don't think about it, I just trust him so much. But I don't know, I learned so much. Richard Beggs, who's a legendary sound guy, I remember on Virgin Suicides, there's a scene where the priest comes to visit them, and he gave him a squeaky shoe when he walks up the stairs. There's all these details that now, like, I think about all the details you can add with the sound, and I love that process. But it's still mysterious to me because it's not visual. So I'm like, but it's a little abstract. But I just think, even like on Priscilla, like it was like when the sound design happened, then like all of a sudden the movie came together, and it felt like a movie, where before it was just like a bunch of scenes stuck together, and it's really adds a huge
music as well. I mean, my director's cut, I feel like I spend more time, even the director's cut before we do any of the sound design. I feel like I'm so obsessive about sound, temp. Like I feel like I get obsessed with temp. Because I'm like, but people have to see it. And I don't want it to sound too crazy, right? And then of course you go, and then I feel like in the sound design, like I was asking about the process, because I'm like, I was in that room for like 14 hours every day, and you know what I mean? Yeah, it's really, you wouldn't think of that, like that when you make a movie. Yeah, I guess I don't know if I spend that much time, because I kind of let them do their thing and then I review it, but but my editor, Sarah Flock, who's great, is really good with the temp sound. Like, she's really meticulous. It makes a huge difference of all the timing of all of that. So I think it's something. But I love that moment when you see it with the first mix, because it's like, it's not terrible. It somehow it magically comes. It's the movie. Yeah, it becomes a movie. It's really crazy. But it's hard to know when. Don't you think it's hard to know when you're done editing? Or you just run out of time and money? No, I think it is. It was so clear. Oh yeah, you're like, oh, it's done. To me, I was like, I could tell. I'm like, I think we're good, or like, I think we're good after this. Yeah. Right after this one little thing. Yeah. But I think it's because of the way that I was a writer for the longest time. Oh. Right. Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like knowing when to stop. Oh yeah. Is like part of the job. Yeah. So it's similarly with the editing. I was like, it's very like, I know we're done after this. If I do more, we're going to start cutting into the things that are good too. Yeah. So I think that, but I mean, with sound design, I think is a part where I didn't know when to stop. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My sound designer, his nickname for me was Miss Dog Ears. Because I would just find it. Every detail. I just would find, I think I would just, I'm driving towards a perfection there that is not going to be achieved. Yeah. Right? Because unless I have a million years. Yeah. Right? Because also, like, I hope it's not just me, but I just think that, like, the sound is so subjective. Yeah. So the same, like, volume hasn't changed. Oh, yeah. But I listened to it the first time and I was like, it's too loud. Yeah, it's weird how it's weird how you trust your ear and impression, and it's after a while you're so like, scary. I don't know, is it too it made me scared, because I was like, I thought this whole scene was so loud. Yeah. And now that I hear it and no adjustment has been made, it sounds fine. It sounds different. Yeah. I feel like that's where you rely on your team, that you trust them, because like that's what they're totally focused on, so that helps. Yeah. But yeah, it is abstract and a strange part of it. It is. Well, it's also like, and I think you're right, it's like when it sounds good, like, all I hear is like imperfections, right? Yeah. But like, but I think it's like, but you have to, like, there's a part of it you just have to let go. Yeah, it's true. There's when you're one little thing, you have to tweak it, or else it's gonna bug you. But it is a weird part of it. But I blocked this all out. I've forgotten all of this. I forget all. I think it's like you have to forget it all, or else it seems too daunting. Oh yeah. Like going into writing a script, I forget about like all the different steps you have to go through. Yeah, you're just like, well, I feel like a brand new, I totally get it. Yeah, like you just have to write a script and then figure out the rest later. But of course. I think it's helpful, I think, to be naive and less experienced, because it's like you don't, like when you're doing it for the first time, you don't know all the steps, and now it's like, oh, but I think you forget it all, and it's
it's always some kind of discovery.
Well, I think that's so amazing, though. So there's this word in Korean that's cho심, and it's like cho is first and shim is heart. So it's about first heart, and they talk about it in. It's mainly the thing that people talk about in creative settings, and it's about how you have to go back to choshim, as in like you always
your
say.
first intuition.
It's like your first heart. So it's like it's less intuition. It's a little bit more like what you're talking about, like
your first impression.
you've forgotten everything, and you're kind of starting like with the same heart.
Oh yeah, like a fresh heart, a first heart.
Yeah, like so you kind of every time you when you're making your next movie, or I'm sure when you're making Priscilla, it's like there's a part of it where you're holding on to the side of it that was working on Virgin Suicides.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
You're like I don't know how this is gonna go, or like the mystery. I think
the
the mystery of it.
Yeah, that's a good word. How do you say it?
choshim,
And it means first heart.
first heart.
Oh yeah, that's
And
nice.
I think about it a lot because I feel like even when you were asking about like what do you think about the second film, or hopefully like so many films, I think when you're there, I think the feeling has to always be like, well, I have to hold on to the first heart of it, because you can't, do you know what I mean? Because you can't just like think about, I don't know, you cannot build it on the thing that you already made, because it's always
you're always starting over.
because it has to be new. You're always starting over. I think that's what it
my
means.
dad's in his 80s, and he's like so excited about this movie he's working on, and like
it's amazing.
Yeah, so it's I feel like you're always starting over.
You're always starting over.
Yeah, which makes it exciting.
I think that's, but I think that's what makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
And also it makes your work feel alive.
Yeah,
too.
definitely.
Yeah, so it's not like
same old thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a thing I've done.
No.
Because I think that'll make me so sad if I'm ever there.
No,
like if I'm 80, you know what I mean, and I'm just like, how many times have I made this movie? You kind of want to be like,
look at Miyazaki.
Yeah.
I know it's. I sometimes always feel like I'm doing the same story over and over again, but you're always trying to figure something out.
No, but I feel like doing the same story over. I think that's just naturally. Though.
Yeah.
Like it's like like Tennessee Williams.
Yeah.
They're all different plays.
Yeah, but you have your.
But it's all about a sister.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We all have our obsessions.
Oh yeah, like Arthur Miller. It's all about. I guess Marilyn Monroe.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think it's all about. But it's they're all different plays.
Yeah.
But they are
Did you study playwriting?
Yeah, I went to. I got an MFA.
Where?
Columbia.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I got an MFA for playwriting at Columbia.
Oh cool.
And I
Did
thought
you really meet your husband at a writing retreat, like in the movie? I figured.
Edward Albee Foundation.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So Edward Albee has a.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you been?
No, where is it?
It's in Montauk.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's really cool, and it's like.
Wow. Can screenwriters go too?
I think you can. Yeah.
That's so cool. I didn't know about that, but I saw a play of his that they redid at Horizons with I was like the wife kept walking in and out of the room. It's not Virginia Woolf. It's not a really famous one, but
Three Tall Women.
No.
Am I saying that right? Yeah, I think it's Three Tall Women. Yeah.
No, it wasn't that one. I forgot what it was called. Anyway,
okay.
I'll try to remember.
But
anyway,
yeah.
Cool. That's
but it's like, well, he and I knew him when he was alive, and he came.
Really?
He used to come to the barn. So
oh,
me and
wow.
my husband, we met him there.
That's so cool.
It was really cool. Totally magical.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
And then, I feel like it's this barn that he bought, and then he just used to just bring his friends over. Like Spalding Gray was there. Like,
wow,
it's really
and
cool.
now it's playwrights.
Retreat. It's like artist retreat,
Yeah,
and then you
that's so
can go
cool.
if you're a painter. You can go if you're a photographer, writer of any kind.
About that. That's so cool.
Yeah, but there are a lot of those. You've been to McDowell?
No, I've never been to those, but I'm going to the Rome Academy in June,
Cool.
and I always thought that would be fun. You and your husband could go live in Rome for a year.
Yeah.
I've painter friends that have done it, and I just thought, I have a fantasy that I'll go.
Oh
to
yeah.
go
You're gonna
to
do it for a year?
No, I'm not doing a residency. I'm just going to I'm going to like an event they're doing, but a friend that's a sculptor, we were like, oh, let's both go for a year and live in Rome and make art. But
Sounds amazing.
you guys could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can check out the Rome Academy.
Check it out. We'll check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I feel like I've been to a lot of these artist residencies, and
Oh,
they're
really?
usually pretty they are pretty productive, I find. Yeah.
It's cool because you're with other people all making stuff.
Yeah, at dinner you meet everyone, and then like you
But they're different. They're not all writers. They're
no,
different. That's so fun.
sometimes the composer, sometimes choreographer. Like
That's
it's kind of
cool.
like a really.
It's like summer camp.
It's like summer camp.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I'm
But
gonna look into that.
I think you should.
I have a friend that used to go to Yaddo.
Yeah. Yado's haunted.
Oh really?
Oh, yeah, famously.
Oh really? Do
Yeah.
you know who the ghost is? Is it like a writer?
I think it's like well, Yado is like how this little girl. I mean, we have a very ghostly
Yeah.
conversation, but there's a little girl who was the daughter who died, and she used to call the whole place Yado because she's trying to say shadow.
Oh, that's why it's called Yaddo?
It's called
I
like a
didn't know
Yado.
that.
I just know it's so wild. I mean, but I think just like most haunted places, it's one of the most productive residencies I've been
Oh.
to. It's a funny way.
Oh.
Like there was a room where it's like there was a room where Truman Capote was working
Really?
on something. I feel like
Wow.
maybe in Cold Blood even, but and then
Wow.
I think he was like 1,000% haunted. Like everybody's
Oh
just
really?
yeah, and there's a.
It's good to write a ghost story there.
It really is. You
Mm.
can do. I think it's one of the most productive.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I think
Mm.
haunted places are really productive.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
My friend who went as a writer, she said they would just like leave a little basket with your food, and you just don't have to think about anything. I'm like, yeah, I gotta.
yeah.
I have to
It's
look
really
into
nice. But McDowell is the kind of I think that's the best one
that. Where's that?
for me. It's like it's all kind of like upstate New
Oh,
York
yeah.
or like a state nearby New York.
Yeah.
And that place, I feel like my favorite part is the food.
Oh, okay.
McDowell is the food. Is
Okay,
like,
that's important.
because like
yeah.
the chefs come in residency and they just like
That's so cool.
Oh,
I
yeah.
never thought. I always just like go to a hotel for when I need to finish writing something.
I mean,
but I need to.
that's nice though.
No, but I'm like, I need to apply to some residency.
course, yeah.
It'd be fun, like the camaraderie too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then you just meet people that you wouldn't have met.
Yeah.
Right? Just like a painter from Texas, and you're
Yeah.
like, I would never have met you
Yeah, that's cool.
if it wasn't for this. Yeah.